In this demo, you will see how a farmer creates a listing, how admins get to act on the listings that a farmer created, and how the approval flow looks like. But before we get started, what is a farmer listing? It's a way for a farmer to bring his produce into the Oxycart ecosystem. Once it is approved, it adds to the farmer's holding for that particular produce that he can eventually sell in the open market. And all of this can happen even before harvesting. All right, so here we are on a farmer's home screen. Let's say this is a farmer who is from one of our sourcing regions, Mysore, and in that region, from Mysore, we procure both Robusta and Yalaki bananas at this point of time. And let's say this is a farmer who is growing Yalaki banana and he would like to sell it on our platform. So the very first thing he has to do is to create a listing. A listing is essentially a farmer telling us about what he's growing and when he thinks the crop is ready for harvesting, which also means that what is the earliest date he can start selling it on our platform. And he can also specify how much he wants to sell and all those other details that I'll get into in a bit. But on his home screen, he's also able to see the trends, which is essentially telling him how much each kind of banana is selling over the last few days. He can click on any of these. For example, given that he's growing Yalaki, he can click on Yalaki to see the different parameters of Yalaki grade A banana. In this example, he could see that the grade A banana is essentially something that matches the criteria of length being between 10 to 13 centimeters and diameter between 20 to 25 millimeters. And he can play around with different categories of Yalaki. And let's say after going through these, he's convinced that he's actually selling grade A Yalaki banana, or he's growing grade A Yalaki banana. So he's ready to create a listing. So he would go here to the listing page. He clicks on the plus button. It launches the new listing workflow. So here, the very first thing that we ask the farmer to let us know is what is the category of the produce that he's trying to list. In this case, banana being the only produce that is currently being procured from the region, we only show up banana here. Once he selects a banana, there are two types of or varieties of banana that we procure from Mysore region, the region where this farmer is at. Given that he's growing Yalaki, he would go ahead and choose Yalaki. And given that he already played around with the quality parameters, he knows that his crop probably falls into grade A type of Yalaki. So he would go ahead and choose grade A. I mean, these are all just a way of letting the admins know what he thinks his crop is. None of these are final. I mean, like eventually there is a admin workflow that comes into picture where they kind of determine the exact quality and all the other parameters. This is basically farmer's version of saying what he thinks his crop is all about. So in the next screen, when he hits the next, we ask him what he thinks his harvest is going to be. Again, these are approximate numbers, and let's say in this case the farmer says it is about 5.5 tons. He'll enter and then he'll go on to the next screen, in which case in which he's supposed to tell us by the date by which he thinks his harvest is going to be ready. Right. In this case, let's say the farmer is pretty close to harvesting. I mean, in fact, he's ready to harvest, and he wants to start trading, immediately. So he'll go ahead and choose today. But for farmers who are very have been with the platform for a while, they can essentially plan their harvesting and let us know well in advance into any future date. But for illustration, let's stick with the crop being ready, and he chooses the earliest or the bid start date to be today's. And then we ask him to upload some pictures. This gives us a kind of a pre-validation to make sure a couple of things. One, we could use AI and ML to interpret the pictures to determine what quality the images or the banana really is. In this case, let's go ahead and add some pictures of this farmer's produce. So once he has added the pictures and everything, there is a summary screen that's presented to him. Once he hits a finish, a listing is created in our system, and it will be assigned to an admin, where the admin can actually, take the ownership of making, either approving or modifying or, rejecting this particular listing. Let's go ahead and hit finish and see what happens. So a listing is successfully created for this particular farmer, and once he goes to his home screen, he'll see that the listing that he just created is in pending state, and he can't really sell it yet because the listing is not approved. Now let's take a break on the farmer app here, and let's shift the focus to the admin app. I'll show you what the admin app looks like and what the workflow looks like for the admin, for our admins. So this is our admin app. Admins have tickets that they work on. They also could do multiple other things, including onboarding of new produce, or they can manage the routes. They can do a lot of internal housekeeping stuff. But in this case, once the farmer created the listing, the ticket was assigned to this particular admin, and you will see that there is a listing type ticket assigned to him that's still open. And when he clicks on it, he will see the actual listing. These are, ignore the images, these are just fake images. But you see those two images of the produce that I uploaded as a part of the demo, and this was a profile picture of that particular farmer. And you'll see the mobile numbers and all the other details. So what the next steps for the admin is, actually he could do a couple of things. If this is a well-known or farmer, he could probably speak with him to assess the situation. But in most of the scenarios, he would actually go ahead and make the field visit, and after making the visit, he determines whether the produce is actually there, and if it's there, it matches the quality parameters that we set for Alaki grade A. If not, he can go ahead and change the Alaki grade A to grade B or whatever that is right, and he can approve the right quantity. In this case, let's say the farmer thinks it is about 5.5 tons, but looking at the yield, our admin can determine it's only 5 tons or 4.5 tons, or in fact it's actually more than 5.5 tons. It could be 10 tons, for example. So after making the site visit, in the site, he would essentially go ahead and take an action to either approve or reject the listing. So in this case, let's say he went ahead and changed the listing approved quantity to 5, and then he said that the bid start can happen immediately. And then the bidding end, let's say, given that it's all ready, let's say he says the bidding should be done in the next 3 days, otherwise probably the crop is not doesn't meet our standards after that point. And then he has an option to approve or reject, but in this case, let's say he approves the listing. So the ticket has been updated. The listing that the farmer actually created has now been approved. Now let's get back to the farmer app and see what the farmer is actually seeing. All right, here we are. So we're back to the farmer screen, and you'll see that the listing has now been updated to indicate that it's been approved. And you'll also see that it's only 5 tons have been approved of the actual listing of 5.5 tons. That's because our admin went there and he thought, it's actually just 5 tons. he didn't change the grade, but he can, the admin can also say that, hey, this is not grade A, or probably, it's a mix of grade A and grade B or whatever. There are a lot of levers that the admins can do, and it will reflect on the farmer's screen. So at this point, he has 5 tons available, and once the auction time starts, he's actually, the farmer can actually go ahead and sell all the 5 tons. Or we'll show the auctioning process and how a farmer can sell and a buyer can buy in a separate demo. But this is what I wanted to show for the listing process, where a listing is made, the admin takes a call, and then the same is reflected to the farmer. All right, let's wrap it up, and then I'll show you, what we have actually looked at in this demo. Go ahead and recap what we have seen in this demo. I've shown you the user's, the farmer's home screen, and how he can figure out various quality parameters. And then I've started showing you how, a listing workflow would look like. And we have also got a little sneak peek into the admins app, which is kind of an internal app our admins use. And it's also, we built a custom ticketing infrastructure where, the tickets are automatically created as soon as our users does something. Like in this case, as a farmer created a listing, our backend created a ticket and assigned to the right admin. Based on the proximity, based on the skill set of the admins that are needed to solve that particular issue. That's something that we have built from scratch. And then I've also demonstrated how admins has the levers to control the quality and the quantity of the produce that is entering into our ecosystem. And finally, once the listing is approved, the farmer was actually able to see that there is 5 tons approved, which translates to, he's now holding 5 tons of Alaki banana that he can sell in the market once the market opens. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.